Hello everyone, you're all very much welcome to this webinar, Boosting Website Content with the Power of AI. I hope you've been enjoying the AI-driven Success Summit so far if you have attended any of the previous webinars. So my name is Sarah Lynch and I'm a digital content writer here at Profile Tree Web Design and Digital Marketing. So I use AI tools every day to help me research, edit and write website content. And compared to when I first started using them, they've already advanced so quickly in such a short amount of time. In the last year or so, it feels like ChatGPT and other AI models have really just exploded onto the scene and really changed how we work. And it can really be hard to keep up with them and understand what they can all do. But hopefully, I can lend some insight to you all and at least give you my experience of the best way to use AI in order to boost your website's content. So, what will you learn? We're going to start with just a brief overview of the AI tools that you can use. That's ChatGPT, Claude AI, and Google Bard. We'll then move on to why it's important to manage your website's content and how you can find out where your website needs the most attention. I will also show you how AI tools can be used to help you identify your website's competition before moving on to the main part of this webinar, how AI tools can help you boost your website's content. And in that section, we'll cover things like updating website pages, adding in new content, researching statistics and figures to include, and we'll even touch a little bit on generating AI images. In the second half of the webinar, I'll show you examples of AI-assisted content doing well on one of our internal brands. And then we will explore some common pitfalls that you should be aware of. And then we'll finish up with some key takeaways for using AI to boost your website's content. So there's an awful lot to cover in a very short amount of time. So let's get stuck in. And if you do have any questions or queries throughout the webinar, please just pop them in towards the chat and we'll answer them towards the end. Thank you. And if you do have any questions or queries, please just pop them into the chat throughout and we can answer them at the end. Thank you. So AI tools. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to show you 3 different AI tools that I regularly use as a digital content writer. And at a first glance, they all appear to be similar AI tools. And they are in that they're all language models and you can easily interact with them and ask questions of them. But in practice, each of them has different strengths and weaknesses. And when you start using them for your website content, you'll just soon see that some are better suited for different tasks than others. So throughout this webinar, I'm going to pivot in between them all, just so you can get a sense of which one to be most suited to your objectives and your preferences. So just as a brief overview then, we will start with ChatGPT. This is an AI model that was developed by the company OpenAI, and it has around 180 million monthly active users, so it is quite popular already. There are 2 versions of ChatGPT, and that is version 3.5 and version 4. The 3.5 version is free, while ChatGPT 4 costs around $20 or £18 per month. The paid version does offer a lot more features. So, for example, ChatGPT 4 can generate images, but the version 3 can't. And you also get priority for usage over the free users, which is particularly useful when you're trying to use ChatGPT during peak times. ChatGPT is also good for writing, editing, researching, and analyzing content. So, Google Bard. This is an AI model that was developed by the search engine Google, and it has around 140 million monthly active users. So you can see that it is closing the gap as ChatGPT's biggest rival. It's also free to use, so there are no premium plans, and you get the exact same access to its features as everyone else. And Google Bard is also particularly good for searching the web. It can access links. It can access links actually quite better than the other AI tools. It's also free to use, so there are no premium plans, and you get the exact same access to its features as everyone else. It's also particularly good for searching the web, and it's also useful for planning, writing, and editing website content. So the third AI tool that we will cover during this webinar is one called Claude AI. Claude AI is another language model which was developed by the company Anthropic, which, just as an interesting fun fact, it was actually started by two former ChatGPT employees, and they purposely left ChatGPT, or sorry, OpenAI, in order to start their own company. So, as you can imagine, there is a lot of drama and gossip surrounding that. Claude AI has around 26 million monthly visitors, which doesn't seem much when you compare it to the other two models, but it is growing in popularity, and it's growing in popularity quite quickly. So it does have the potential to become a leading player in the AI world. It also outperforms the likes of ChatGPT and Google Bard when it comes to writing. I typically find that Claude is particularly good at writing uniquely structured content, and it tends to use less repetitive wording than the others. ChatGPT and Claude, or sorry, like ChatGPT, Claude also offers both a free subscription and a paid one. The paid one is called Claude Pro. Claude Pro costs the same as ChatGPT's premium plan, ChatGPT 4, which again is around $20 or £18 per month. So that's just a brief overview of the different AI tools that we are going to explore throughout this webinar. But before we go into the details of using each of them, I just want to talk briefly about why your website's content is so important for your website's performance. So why focus on website content? If you're running a business, you're probably already very busy. So why focus? So why focus on your website's content? If you're running a business, you're probably already very busy, but you still need to pay attention to your website and its content. And I just want to highlight some statistics that show the importance of managing your web content and the impact that it can have on its performance. So, a study by Crazy Egg found that small tweaks to your website's content can increase conversion rates by 30%, which is quite a big increase. Websites with blog content tend to have 434% more index pages by search engines, which is also crucial for enhancing SEO, and that was a study by TechClient. HubSpot also found that updating and republishing your old blog posts by adding in new content and images can increase its organic traffic by as much as 106%, which again is a really big dramatic increase. Small businesses with blogs tend to get 126% more lead growth than those without. And HubSpot also found that companies with active blogs report 97% more links to their websites, which again is also crucial for SEO and website performance. So it's clear to see that your website's content really does have a direct impact on its performance and your business's potential to reach new customers and engage with existing ones. It's important that you think of your website as the pillar of your online presence and essentially as your brand's digital home. So it's really important that the content reflects who you are as a brand. So you know that managing your website's content is important, but where do you actually start? I want to talk a little bit about a tool called Uber Suggest. It's not an AI tool, but AI will soon be able to do what it does. So it's essentially a platform that can audit your website, show you your website's competition, and even generate lists of keywords for your content to target. There is a free version of Ubersuggest, and this allows you to perform 3 free searches per day, which can be more than enough if you're only managing 1 or 2 websites for your business. Although if you do plan on managing more websites than that, then it's probably worth investing in a paid subscription. But to get started on a website audit, all you simply do is paste the website URL into the search bar, and it takes around 10 minutes for a full website audit to be completed. But the results basically show you what you need to do in order to boost your website's performance and the user experience. So for this example, I have just used a local keysmith company in Belfast. And from the screenshots, you can see that it's already highlighted SEO issues that are affecting the website's performance. So some things are a bit technical, for example, SSL certificates, but other issues are much easier to fix. So like pages with a low word count, that's a real easy fix that you can do in order to give your So you'll see that some things are a bit technical, for example, SSL certificates, but there are other issues that are much easier to fix. So pages with a low word count, for example, that's a real easy fix that you can get a start on and increase your website's performance just by ensuring that all of your web pages have a decent word count. So as a general rule of thumb, we would suggest 1,000 words for standard blog posts and main website pages. We'd also suggest around 2,000 words for long form content articles. So that's when you're exploring a topic in a real depth and detail. And around 300 to 500 words for things like product pages is typically fine. But by following this structure, your website will appeal better to search engine algorithms and also appeal to the people who are. But by following this structure, your website will appeal better to the search engine algorithms. Ubersuggest will also give you a lot of detail on your website's performance for certain keywords. So you can see in this example, it's already suggested ideas for new content and even started suggesting pages that could be optimized in order to rank higher for certain keywords. This is incredibly useful for giving you a really targeted approach to boosting your website's performance. And this is a tool that we would use every day in order to evaluate a website's content and give us actions going forward. But if you think of Ubersuggest as, the real technical tool, there is advancements in AI in that it's making tools like Ubersuggest. So tools like Ubersuggest can show you what you need to do, and they're a lot more technical, and they give a lot of detail on how your website's performing. But AI tools are also starting to do that, and they're starting to do it in a much easier format. So I have found that Google Bard is the best AI tool for accessing the web. Other AI tools such as ChatGPT and Claude AI, they claim that they can access links, but in my experience, they often can't. So Google Bard is the best one at the moment for accessing the web, which essentially means that you can ask Google Bard what it thinks of your website's content and also get it to suggest a list of keywords that you should target for your content strategy going forward. And again, just sticking with the same example of a local keysmith business in Belfast, you can see that it has generated a strong list of keywords that were actually quite similar to the list generated by Ubersuggest. So, and it's even started by the key list. And as you can see, it's already started to generate a list of good, strong keywords that were actually quite similar to those generated by Ubersuggest. It's even started to branch out to the other services that the business provides. And so in essence, Google Bard is an AI tool that's useful. And just sticking with the same example of the local keysmith in Belfast, you can see that it's already started to generate a list of good, strong keywords that were actually quite similar to those generated by Ubersuggest. It's even started to branch out to the other services that the business provides. So it's a really good blueprint for the type of content that you should include on your website going forward. So in essence, Google Bard is an AI tool that's useful for conducting a brief website analysis and keyword generation, but perhaps just not in the same level of detail that platforms like Ubersuggest can provide. But still really useful for anyone that's wanting to know how their content is being interpreted and to also have a list of strong keywords that they can use going forward. So another aspect of improving your website's performance might be to perform a website competition analysis. So this will help you uncover the types of content that your shared target audience values. And again, in a similar situation, we can see that some AI tools just perform better than others. So I have used the same prompt for all three AI models, and I have simply asked, who are my competitors for this website? And I have pasted in our profile tree URL. So ChatGPT, it said it doesn't have access to real-time data and it doesn't have the ability to browse the internet. So fair enough, it can't tell me. ChatGPT 4, it's given me a bit more information. It's been able to tell me, okay, our business is about web design and content marketing, etc. But it's been unable, again, to generate a list of competition or website competitors. And then I also asked Claude the exact same prompt. And again, it doesn't have the context to state who our competitors are. So the last option then was Google Bard and the exact same prompt. And as you can see from the screenshot example, it's already started to generate competitors and even sorted them based on the specific niche and the agency size. So there you can see it's immediately identified, HubSpot is a large agency that might be in competition with our content. It just even Hootsuite, Social Buffer, just really good examples of competition. And that would also give me an idea of the kind of websites that I should be looking at and see what kind of content that they produce and why they're so popular. The only thing that I would say that Google Bard lacks in compared to Ubersuggest is identifying local competition, and Ubersuggest would be able to do that quite easily. But other than that, you can see how this particular AI tool is really useful for when you're trying to identify website competition that you might have otherwise been unaware of. So how can AI tools boost website content? So AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude AI, and Bard can help you in the content creation process. So they can help with things like updating website content, optimizing old blog posts, adding in FAQ sections, adding in statistics, facts, and figures, summarizing long form content, fine tuning your words, generating AI images, and we will go into a wee bit more detail on each of those within the next few slides. Okay, so updating website content. So say you have a website and you want to ensure that your main landing pages, whether that's your services pages or your homepage, you want to ensure that it's structured in the best possible way so that when someone visits your website, they have the best user experience possible. So AI tools can help you structure your content in such a way that the information flows more smoothly and more cohesively. So here you can see I've just asked it again, give me an example of how to update this homepage of a locksmith website to make it more engaging and visually appealing. And there you can see it's already started to pull out really helpful headings and sections that I should include that really present my business in the best possible way. And these suggestions, they might only be slight things like changing a few paragraphs or updating your page with new testimonials. But as we've seen in the statistics earlier on, even slight changes can really impact the user experience, which then has a knock on effect on your website's performance. It's also worth noting that you can still use tools like ChatGPT and Claude in order to help you update your main website pages, but you would just need to copy and paste in the content as opposed to copying in the URL. Okay, so optimizing old blog posts. So old blog posts are another great way to boost your website's performance. And with the way the SEO trends are going in 2024, it's becoming clearer that it's better to update old blog posts as opposed to writing brand new ones. And I find that all three AI tools, whether that's ChatGPT, Google Bard, or Claude AI, they're all really helpful with this task. But you can use the same prompt across them all, which is just simply, can you add to this blog content, updating it with useful information and including rich keywords to enhance its SEO performance? So for this example, I've just gone back to the local locksmith and I've copied in one of their previous blogs about keeping your home secure around Christmas time. And then from the screenshot, you can see that it's began adding in really useful content. And from the screenshot, you can see that it has begun adding in really useful content and even a little bit of background about the rise of burglaries around the festive season. So all of this is incredibly useful for optimizing old blog posts and also suggesting more content ideas that fit nicely in with the original content. But of course, you're going to still need to edit the content, ensure the information is correct, and that it aligns with your brand tone and your values, etc. You never want to just copy and paste something in that AI has just straight generated. You still want to go through that editing process that makes it your own. Okay, so adding in FAQ sections. So frequently asked questions are a great way to. Okay, so FAQ sections. So adding in frequently asked questions sections, whether that's part of your main website content or in your blog posts, it's another great way to really enhance your website's performance. Simply because FAQ structured type content, it appeals to the SEO algorithms that want to pull out rich snippets of information, and it also appeals to your audiences who just want quick answers to their queries without them having to scroll through pages and pages of information. AI tools can be used to help you really quickly identify common queries that are related to your niche, and all you have to do is answer them from your industry perspective. So in the example screenshot, you can see that ChatGPT has been able to generate some really valuable FAQs that are relevant to the typical locksmith customer. So for example, how much does your services cost? Can you cut keys for any type of lock? What should I do if my key breaks inside the lock? All really interesting FAQs that are relevant to a locksmith's typical customer. And it works great for your website because, again, your website becomes almost like a resource of information. So adding in statistics, facts, and figures to your website's content. Again, this is another great way to position your brand and your website as a resource for information. And it also helps highlight the need for what it is that your business provides. So going back to the locksmith example, you can see that it's pulled through a lot of interesting facts, such as the average person will lose 8 sets of keys in their lifetime. It's all really interesting information that works well for illuminating your website's content, but just to keep in mind, you also need to double check that the information that it provides is true and accurate. Okay, so adding in statistics, facts, and figures. So, this is another great way to position your brand as a resource for information, and it also highlights the need for what it is that your business provides. So, going back to the locksmith example, you can see that it is pulled through some really interesting facts, such as the average person will lose 8 sets of keys in their lifetime. That's real interesting information that fits nicely within the website's content. But just to keep in mind, you do need to double check that the information that AI is providing is correct, because ChatGPT, Claude, and Google Bard, they're all known to exaggerate infant facts and actually hallucinate. And for anyone interested, hallucinate was also named as the word of the year by the Cambridge Dictionary, which basically refers to AI tools making up information that isn't true. So there you can see if it's made its way into word of the year, then it's obviously a common problem that happens, and we will come back to that later on in the webinar. So summarizing long form content. So in 2024, we're finding that there's a growing trend for short form content. It's already happened to video content, and audiences are wanting the same when they consume written content. But what do you do if you already have long form articles that are written and published and they're doing well? Well, the solution then is to use AI tools that will help you summarize those long form articles. So instead of you having a conclusion towards the end that summarizes the content, you would actually have a brief summary at the top, which highlights the main points of your article. And it's really easy to do this with the likes of AI tools like ChatGPT or Claude or even Bard. And it's a really great way to quickly update your website content and ensure that it is actually suited to the current online media consumption trends. Fine tuning your words. Okay, so sometimes we aren't always the best wordsmiths. Sometimes it just feels like the words aren't flowing, or you might feel as though you're struggling to get your point across. And sometimes when you're in the middle of writing content, you just get so stuck with writing a certain way that it's hard to think of saying it a different way. But I have found this simple prompt that you can ask AI, can you help me write this better? Just to be a massive help. And it's such a simple prompt, but sometimes all you need is to hear the sentence or the paragraph said in a different way in order for it to make sense. So if you're going to start using AI, as a writing partner, just keep in mind that for even simple tasks, sentence structure and even grammar, just simply popping it into an AI tool and asking it to help you write better can sometimes just give you the little nudge that you need to make your content more engaging and more readable. So AI generated images. So this is another way to boost your website's content. Say again for the locksmith example, we've just written a brand new blog and we want to update it with a new image to go along with the new content that we have added to the existing blog. So ChatGPT 4 is the only AI tool from the three that we have been discussing that is capable of producing images. So ChatGPT 3.5, Claude AI, and Google Bard, they are not currently capable of generating images. Some of them might tell you that they are, but I can tell you in experience that they are not. And it's also worth keeping in mind that ChatGPT 4 can sometimes take a little bit of convincing in order to get it generating the image that you had in mind. So for this example, I have asked, make me an image of a broken key. And there you can see that key, it doesn't really suit the business profile. It's not the kind of key that their typical customer would have. So I have asked it then, can you change the image to a house key? And again, you can see that key, it doesn't really suit the business. And I would be surprised if any locksmith has come across a key that looks like that. So it was clear that, the AI was a little confused. So the next prompt then that I gave was, start from scratch and make me an image of a broken house key. And the third image, it is a lot closer to the image that we had in mind, but it's still not perfect. So you can just see there that ChatGPT sometimes needs a little convincing and perhaps more clearer instructions in order to get closer to the image that you have in mind. But in saying that, ChatGPT 4 isn't the only AI tool that you can use for generating images. We've So it's also worth keeping in mind then that ChatGPT 4 isn't the only AI tool that you can use in order to generate images. We have actually found Canva AI to be the better tool for generating images, and our previous webinar explored this. And if you happen to miss that one and you're still interested, the recording is available. But in saying that, ChatGPT 4 isn't the only AI tool that you can use for generating images. We have found Canva AI is a lot better at doing this, and it works in the same way of text input in order to create an image. Our previous webinar covered this in a bit more detail, and that recording is available for anyone who might be interested. So, does AI content work? So now that you know AI can help you create website content, I suppose the elephant in the room is, does it actually work? And the answer is yes, but only if you use it in a responsible way. So we use AI tools in order to help us update and optimize our content on our internal brands. And below you can see a screenshot that shows that it still performs well. Our blogs on Conley Cove still get tens and thousands of clicks, and they still rank in good positions for their targeted keywords. But it is very important to note that our AI usage is human augmented, so that means that one of our editors has ensured that the AI content still makes sense and that it still aligns with our brand's tone. You never want to just copy and paste AI generated content straight onto your website. Otherwise, it'll become, too similar to the other content out there, and I suppose just not really original enough, and also suited to your brand and your style. You don't want something out there that somebody else has. You want to use AI just to help you create unique content and also to write better. But in short, AI content does work just if you use it well. So now that we know all the wonderful things that AI can do and the potential that it has, it's also useful that we explore some AI pitfalls. So the first one, AI tools can time out, especially if you're using free versions. You get less priority over the paid users. So, if you're using a free version of, say, ChatGPT 3.5, it's maybe worth keeping in mind that you want to use it at non-peak times, or you even want to start using it in advance. So you never want to just hop on a free version, the day before content is due. You want to make sure that you leave yourself enough time to get the content generated with the help of AI, because it can time out easily for free users. It's also worth keeping in mind that features, and it's also worth keeping in mind that okay, so now that we know of all the wonderful things that AI can do, I think it's important to cover some common AI pitfalls. So the first one, AI tools can time out, especially if you're using the free versions. You do get less priority over paid users. So if it's time sensitive content, just make sure that you're leaving yourself enough time to get using the free platforms, because it will just time out if there's too many people on it at the one time. Features can also be removed quite regularly. So for example, getting ChatGPT to access the web, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So you just want to be cautious of that what's working for you one week won't necessarily work for you the next. And when you use AI tools, and this goes across the board for all three of them, that we have talked about, you want to be cautious of the wording. So sometimes the wording can start to sound a bit repetitive or overly dramatic. And one phrase that you'll regularly see on ChatGPT is meticulously crafted, which to me now is just a dead giveaway that AI has been used. So you just want to keep an eye out for that, that the content still makes sense and that it's still engaging to those who are going to read it. It can have a tendency to come across nonsensical and like gibberish. So it's just worth keeping in mind that if it doesn't make sense to you, it won't make sense to them. And then another major pitfall of using AI is that it can also tell lies. And by lies, I mean misinformation. And I know that we have covered this in a couple of examples beforehand, but I still think that it's really worth drawing your attention to it again and showing you an example of AI giving misinformation. So, examples of AI giving misinformation. So I simply asked for the statistics of ChatGPT 4 usage in December 2023. And I first asked Claude for these statistics. And the response that it gave me, it initially told me that it didn't have access to that information, which is fair enough. I'll take that response. But then it goes on to tell me that ChatGPT 4's parent company is Anthropic. But if you actually think back to the beginning of this webinar, the so examples of misinformation. So I think it's just really important to focus on this as we begin to use AI in everyday work tasks. It's really important that we start to use AI responsibly. We want to make sure that our AI usage provides correct information and that we are cautious that it can provide misinformation. So this example, I simply asked ChatGPT and Claude, can you tell me the statistics for ChatGPT 4 usage in December 2023? It's a pretty simple question, but the answers that it's a pretty simple question, but the answers that it provided gave me false information. So from Claude, I asked just the exact same prompt, and the response initially told me that it didn't have access to that information, which is fair enough. But it then went on to claim that ChatGPT's parent company was Anthropic, which, if you remember at the beginning of this webinar, the parent company of Claude, that's the parent company of Claude, sorry, not ChatGPT. ChatGPT's parent company is OpenAI. So that's quite clearly misinformation, and it's not true. So you just really need to be careful if the information that it provides is correct. And when you look at the response from ChatGPT for the exact same prompt, it was able to give me an exact number. It was also able to give me some background into its usage beforehand. And then towards the bottom, it was even able to give me the sources from where it pulled that information from. And this is the kind of answer that you're looking for in AI responses. You want to be able to check out that information and you want to be able to check out that it's valid and correct. Now, AI tools won't always give you the source of information, and if they don't, that's fine. You can simply ask, where did you get this information from? And ideally, it should give you a source for you to check the information. And if it doesn't, it probably indicates that the information isn't entirely correct. So I would disregard that resource unless it's able to source the material from where it pulled that information from. So just to keep that in mind, we really want responsible usage for AI going forward. And responsible use has to come from everybody that is using it, and we have to be aware of these common pitfalls. So we will finish up with some of the key takeaways of this webinar. I know that we have covered a lot of information in a very short time, so I think it might be useful just to basically recap the main talking points that we went through. So the first one then, your website's content, has a major impact on its performance, SEO, customer engagement, reach, visibility, really everything. Your content represents your brand, so you want to make sure that you're producing the best content possible. When it comes to boosting your website's performance, tools like Uber Suggest can perform a website analysis and help give you direction on where to focus for boosting your website's content. And when it flags pages for a low word count, those should be a high priority to fix because they're quite easily fixed. Google Bard is the best AI tool that you can use for accessing the web. Claude AI and ChatGPT, they will claim that they can access the web, but as we said beforehand, Google Bard proves itself to be the best for doing that task. Claude AI, ChatGPT, and Bard are also all good tools for helping you draft content and for optimizing existing content. But again, I just want to say that never trust what AI tools have to say for 100%. You always need to double and triple check no matter what ones you are using. And if you are going to invest in an AI tool, I really do think it's useful for you to trial the free versions first before you think about committing to a paid subscription. The free versions are quite similar to the paid versions, and they can give you an idea, if it's a kind of AI tool that you like working with. So really do try all three of them. They all have a free version, and just really see which ones align with your usage requirements and your preferences. So that's the end of the webinar. I really hope that you have been able to gain some value and some insight into the power of AI and how it can really help boost your website's content. I just really want to thank everybody for joining me today, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the AI Driven Success Summit if you plan on attending any of the next webinars. We do have a little bit of time for a Q&A section, so please, if you haven't already, drop your questions into the chat and we can start answering them now. Thank you again and take care.